They've all been set up by 2, 3, or 4 people. Disney, Walt and his brother. Walmart, the legend is Sam Walton. No, it was Sam, his wife Helen, and Helen's father. The Ford Motor Company. Henry Ford was crazy. He was a mad engineer. And he went bankrupt twice. It was like Maury. He went bankrupt twice by age 46. The third time, when he went to look for money again, the rich Robert Barron that gave him the money the third time said, "You want money from me? You already took my money under false pretense. You told me that you will use the money to make cars for sale. He said, you make racing cars for you to race. So this time, if you want my money again, I nominate your financial manager, James Cousin, who was a cantankerous, coal mining clerk, to take care of the finance." And then since Henry Ford didn't have the personality to sell it, and James Cousin did not have the personality to sell it, the two of them said, how are we going to sell the cars? And they invented a network of, the way you sell car nowadays was invented by them. And they started with 437 people distributing cars for them. So when I read that nobody ever set up a successful company alone, I have to rethink everything I was doing. Thinking, so what I was doing in Esperance was not remedial management for entrepreneurially challenged people. What I was doing in Esperance was the only possible thing you should ever tell somebody. And then I went into some research. And I remember my humanistic psychologists and what they taught. And guess what? It is about passion even within your enterprise. It is about passion. It's not about the convincing you who love to make the object. You the creator, the one who loves the product. It's not about convincing you that you need to learn to sell it. It's about passion for sales. It's about somebody who is so different from you that wakes up in the morning thinking, who am I going to show this hard work to today? So it's passion. It's not about imposing you a technique to sell yourself. Because if you don't have the personality, you will do that horribly. If you hate people, it will show. You cannot lie. And if you love the peace and quiet of your workshop, and if you have dedicated your life to fine-tune the skills to produce the beautiful object, whatever it is, it's because your personality is a personality that wants the quiet and the solitude. And to teach you to go and sell is a waste of time. So I started to rethink these 25 years of work. And I have come to realize that the people who teach business don't get it. And how embarrassing is it for me, who never studied business, to actually stand up and say that every small business course run by any university in the Western world is actually propagating a known truth. Who am I to criticize every small business courts in the world? Who am I? But then I think that every small business course in the world is being inspired by one person. There was an American academic who in the 50s invented a curriculum to teach people like you how to start a business. And that academic invented a curriculum based on the ability of the student to write a business plan. So all over the world is one methodology to teach business. And it works this way. You, all of a sudden, want to apply for a social enterprise grant or loan, or you need to feed your family, and you think that the way to do it is by starting a business. And you go to a business center, and as soon as you come in at the business center, they will tell you, you have to learn to do it all. And the way we're going to teach you, we are going to teach you the principle of business. We are going to teach you what it takes to market your goods. We're going to teach you how to look after your finances. And my point is, if no living entrepreneur who is successful has ever done that, why are we teaching it? If by teaching this bullshit, 80% of small businesses go bankrupt in the first 5 years, why don't we stop teaching something that is false and is unproven? If somebody with no economic development background, with no business experience like me, can set up a mechanism to help to start 40,000 businesses who have a lifespan where 80% are still open after 5 years, by teaching people what every successful entrepreneur has ever done, why should I should be ashamed of challenging the status quo? I'm not ashamed at all. I'm proud. So I come to Tasmania invited by the Tasmania Tasmania Task Force, Social Services, and the Arts Organization. Why do they invite me? Well, maybe they have understood that I don't teach business to people. In fact, I believe that the language of corporate business is a macho, male-oriented, warlike language that is alienating for 2/3 of the population. I believe that we have to stop allowing the business language to be hijacked by the corporate world. And we have started to reclaim entrepreneurship. And the first thing I would suggest is that we reclaim the word. I was so sick and tired of listening to people who told me that entrepreneur was a French word. I was also delighted when President George Bush said that the French did not even have a word for entrepreneur. That was delightful. But at the same time, as an Italian, I know that the French have no language. It's all Latin and the Northern Italian dialect. But, you know, what can you do about it? You know, they're cousins and non-cousins. So, especially, it will give me the creeps when I will get these business advisors telling me what the word entrepreneur meant. Because some silly advisor believed that the word entreprendre means the one in the middle who take the mediator between somebody who sells and somebody who, you know, pays. You know, a little bit of education is very dangerous. Because the word entrepreneur does not mean anything like that at all. Not at all. In the English language, the word entrepreneur was used the first time in 1460 and was used in a book about nobility, and it was used in an expression that said such and such was an entrepreneur, and la bataille was an entrepreneur in the warfield. Entrepreneur disappeared from the English language after that mention and reappeared in 1860 to indicate somebody who was dealing in business. The word entrepreneur, the way it appeared in 1460 for the same time, is exactly identical to the Italian word intraprendente. Both words are the same and they come from the Latin, and it means the one who gets it first. The one who is innovative, courageous, the one who is the first to grasp it. There is absolutely no connotation whatsoever in the word entrepreneur with business. You are entrepreneurs. If you're courageous, if you have a vision, if you see something that nobody else sees and you can grasp it, you are an entrepreneur. Which reminds me of a quote, a definition of entrepreneur by Peter Drucker, who is a management consultant who studied entrepreneurship the longest in the world. Peter Drucker was a Viennese professor of philosophy who came to America in the 40s. He died 2 years ago, age 96. And by at the end of his life, he came up with a definition of entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is anybody who does anything new. Shouldn't that be you guys? Thank you for listening to me. Believe me, it's not about you learning to do it. Do what successful entrepreneur has ever done. Only ever do what you love to do, but surround yourself with people whom you dearly love and respect, who can do beautifully what you cannot do. And that